I think I'm falling in love with my brother-in-law. My husband Will and I have been married for just over a year and have been together for 4 years total. When COVID lockdown began, Will's brother Liam asked if he could come stay with us as his roommate is an essential worker and he is high-risk Crohn's. Before this, Liam and I knew each other but definitely not well, we'd met probably under 10 times. But since he moved in, we've been spending a ton of time together and alone. My husband is a lawyer, so he's holed up in his office most of the day. Liam and I are both technically still working, but work has kind of dried up for both of us, so most of our days is free time. Liam's been living with us for over 3 months now. The first week Liam moved in, I was struck by how similar we were, much more so than my husband and I are. We have a similar sense of humor, similar interests, and I'd say our overall energy is very similar. He also looks a lot like Will. Except, since we got married, Will has gained about 30 pounds. Liam, on the other hand, is very fit. You get where I'm going here. I don't know Liam well enough to know for sure if he's flirting with me, but it certainly feels like it. He laughs a lot at my jokes, teases me, and drops everything, e.g. hanging up on phone calls with friends, if I suggest we do something together, go to the store or play a game, whatever. The way he looks at me also feels very affectionate and occasionally intense. We spend a lot of time tanning in the yard or in the pool, so we're seeing each other half naked a lot. The sexual tension, at least on my end, is through the roof. My sex life with Will has also been flagging, which doesn't help. We've also gotten emotionally close. We have a lot of late night, usually drunk/high talks alone because Will tends to go to bed early. We share a ton of inside jokes. We text, even though we're in the same house. When I see him slash his name on my phone, I get that giddy feeling in my stomach like I do in the early courtship stages of a relationship. I guess I didn't recognize the extent of the problem until last week. On Wednesday night, I had a very vivid sex dream about Liam. I woke up incredibly horny and initiated sex with Will, but was thinking about Liam the whole time. I felt so guilty and disgusting after. Then on Friday night, we were all drunk and had put on music and were just dancing stupidly. Liam and I kept dancing when Will went to bed, and it got a little heated. We were jokingly grinding and rubbing up on each other, except it didn't really feel like a joke. Since then, I keep having these thoughts of like, what life would be like if I'd met Liam instead of Will first, or what Liam would be like as a husband. I talked to Will today about possibly asking Liam to leave, under the guise of needing more privacy and more space for our relationship. Will was kind of taken aback, since we get along so well, and more or less shot down the idea since Liam has nowhere else to go. I feel like I'm dangerously close to having an affair, if what's happening now doesn't already count as cheating, and I don't know what I can do. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks. Edit, I woke up to this post having blown up. I'm trying to read every comment, but it's a little overwhelming. To clarify a few points, I don't know if this really matters, but a lot of comments have glommed onto this point. Liam and I both work, and are both earning our regular salaries right now. I make more money than Will. There's just less work right now, so we have a lot of free time. I may be a shitty person in other ways, but the leech narrative is false, sorry. I'm not sure if I want to stay with Will, or if he even wants to stay with me. Our married life has been rocky even before all this, problems with intimacy, affection, lack of time for each other, lack of communication, which we've talked about and tried to address to no avail. Liam reminds me of what Will was like while we were dating, not just physically. I was trying to say this in a comment but was sleepy and it came out jumbled and kind of the opposite of what I was trying to say. But our married life also overlaps significantly with a really chaotic and stressful time in the world and in Will's work, so I'm not sure if these problems are just temporary. I am not considering physically cheating. I'm just afraid that if we're in the house together all the time, the situation will only worsen, e.g. my feelings get stronger and it becomes harder to cut off. I recognize now that I definitely need to stop getting drunk/high with Liam, but I'm not sure that'll solve everything. I would appreciate advice on how to cut things off tactfully. I assumed this was par for the course for this subreddit, but the names used here aren't their real names. I'm clearly shit at coming up with aliases. I booked a therapy session for myself and might just spend the day alone to reflect and really think about what I want. Thank you for taking the time to comment, especially those of you who have been kind. I think I'm in love with my brother. Okay, so I know it's really weird, but hear me out. When I was 2 and my brother was 4, my parents went through a really ugly divorce. They don't like to talk about it, but I know they really hate each other. My mom wanted to move back to her home state to be near her family, but my dad wanted to stay where he was, so they decided that instead of split custody it would be easier for me to go with my mom, and my brother, let's call him Andrew, would stay with my dad. I knew I had a brother, but since talking about him upset Mom, I didn't really ask about him. When I was 12, Mom told me that my dad had contacted her and that Andrew really wanted to visit and get to know me and Mom. I was really curious to meet my brother, of course, but also really nervous. When he visited the first time, he stayed for a week. My dad flew him over on his own. Apparently he didn't want anything to do with it, and it went really well. We got on really well and he was really interested in me and getting to know me, not like my friends' big brothers. He treated me like a friend. After that, he came to stay for a week or 2 every summer vacation, and sometimes in the middle of the year too. Then 2 years ago he actually moved to my state to go to college, and so we get to see each other every couple of weeks for coffee or just to hang out. We play all the same video games, so we spent a lot of time doing that. So back to my question, I think I'm falling in love with him. I mean, I know he's my brother, but to me he's never really seemed like a brother, but more like an older friend or mentor. He's always been really nice to me and gives me advice, and he's enthusiastic about spending time with me. None of my friends' brothers are like that. They treat their sisters like pests to be tolerated. Andrew treats me more like a guy would treat a girlfriend. He texts me constantly and we spend at least 2 nights a week on the phone just chatting for hours. He pays for everything when we're together. He got some really good scholarships, so he has more money than most students, and he tells me he loves me. He smiles at me in a way that he doesn't with other people, and last night, when we were watching a movie, he put his arm around me and I felt really safe and warm. Am I crazy for thinking he might feel the same way as me? Do you think I should tell him I have a crush on him, or will that freak him out? I can always say I was joking if he does, but if he does feel the same way, then maybe we could actually be together. It would probably have to be in secret since most people wouldn't understand, but when he's done with his study, maybe we could move to another state where people don't know we're related. Neither of us want kids, so that doesn't matter. Help. TLDR, my brother and I were raised separately, and now I think I have a crush on him. Should I tell him?